Welcome to the video syllabus for Miss Moses's U.S. History 2 class. This year we're going to be using our skills in historical analysis to explore the history of the United States from the Reconstruction era to the present. We are going to be placing a focus on important skills and concepts in civics, economics, and geography. And here you can see a representation of our units of study. We usually tend to get through the first 5 units first semester, and then we start with the 1920s usually after we come back in January. As students are beginning 7th grade, we're going to expect that they take a little bit more responsibility and ownership for their own learning. If we think about the Clipper slogan that we have, the I stands for independent, and we want our kids to learn to become independent citizens. So, their first responsibility in my class is to be prepared and organized. I expect that students bring all their needed materials to class and that they are aware of when work is due. When students are absent, then they need to be responsible for finding out what they missed, pick up any handouts, and complete the work in a timely manner. That can be done by a student coming to see me at the beginning of class or at the end of class to make sure they have their work, or taking some time sometimes during an elective class like PE. You or a student can send me an email, although oftentimes I might say you need to come in to see me to get these hard copies of work. Students are responsible for completing that work in a timely manner. I will expect that students complete the work. A student cannot come to me and say, I know I missed that one day 2 weeks ago, but I don't have what's on the test now. That is not a timely manner. The school policy is generally if a student misses 1 day of school, then they have 2 days to make up that work. If they miss a week of school, then they have 2 weeks to make up that work. And it's my expectation that students will be doing that. I will probably not be able to come and check up on every kid. Unfortunately, I teach 150 students. On any given day, at least 2 to 10 are out, and so I can't go and check on every kid. They can, of course, come to see me if they need help or if they have any questions, but I cannot come and check up after them. When we think about the R in Clipper, that is about responsibility, and there are certain materials that I expect every student will bring to every class. First of all, their binder. In this class, we will not have a textbook. Instead, students will be building their own version of a textbook, and that will be built in their binder. So if you don't have your binder, it's much less likely that you're going to get the materials you need, which means you're not going to be prepared to study and do the homework. So it's very important students bring their binder. Their agenda needs to be brought every day. Agendas are used for writing bathroom passes, and they're also used for copying down assignments. So the assignments are always posted on the board. Students are reminded of those assignments, and it is expected that they are writing it down in their agenda in order to complete those assignments. Additionally, students need to bring something to write with. These other materials will be somewhat provided for students. I keep a class set of all of these materials. Usually at the beginning of the year, students come to class with many of these. For example, a highlighter. They are required to bring several highlighters to school. The same with glue sticks. And so I will collect one from every student so that throughout the year we can make sure that we have enough for all students, because middle schoolers, we try so hard to teach them that R for responsibility, but things are going to disappear. So if we make sure we have those materials in class when we need them, students won't have to worry so much. I do own a class set of scissors and things to color with for students that I have provided on my own. Our late policies is that all assignments are considered late if they are not with the student at the start of the block they are due. This includes for projects. Students need to bring their work with them to class. Oftentimes students will say, well, I left it in my locker. These items are supposed to be in their binder. They're going to have a place in their binder for those items. They need to come to class. Late homework assignments are given a 50% credit when they're turned in. Students have until the interim to turn in late homework. So that means, let's say you forgot your homework, you turn it in the next block, that's a 50%. You can only turn it in until the interim. So for projects, I'm a little bit more lenient. Projects only lose 10 points for every class period they are late. So if you forget your project and you bring it in the next class, the highest you can earn is a 90. I don't want to give a student a 50 for a project, as those are usually larger grades, and that could really wreck them having a 50 or even a 0 for a project. So students have 10 points off every block that those projects are late. This year, students will be required to complete 8 hours of blended learning, which are online assignments, in this class in order to make up any school missed due to inclement weather. This is a division policy that says that there are certain classes where we do not have enough hours banked up, and history is one of those classes that if we do have inclement weather, those classes sort of have less hours, less of a cushion, so we need to add in these 8 hours of online assignments for students to complete. If a student does not have internet access, my policy is here. We use Office 365 to complete these assignments, and I'll talk about that in just a second. In general, students in my class have the opportunity to correct tests and only tests to improve their grade. And in general, I do not give other extra credit unless there is a specific announcement. And I will place a deadline on when students can complete their tests. So you cannot wait till the end of the quarter and correct 10 tests, in a row. Not that there would not be 10 tests, but you cannot correct 2 tests in a row. I try and get students to do that in a timely manner so that it is useful to their learning. There is no textbook for this class, which means it is very important that students follow along with our interactive system and keep their notes organized. During each unit, there will be a notebook check, and this always takes place during the class period right before the test, and this makes sure that students and I know that they have all the materials they will need to be successful on that assessment. These checks serve 3 purposes. They assess student organization, help students check their understanding of content before the test, and they allow the teacher to grade the many small assignments that we complete during the unit. And if we look at our weighting, you can see tests are worth 40%, quizzes 30%, classwork is worth 10%, those notebook checks are worth 10%, and homework is worth 10%. Usually during a unit we'll have 1 test, 1 or 2 quizzes, we'll have a handful of larger classwork assignments. The notebook check will grade all those little everyday things we do, and then also a handful of homework assignments. The grading scale follows the general policy for Grafton Middle School. On my Aspen page, I will post information about class updates, homework, and quiz and test dates. I do my absolute best to keep the calendar on Aspen up to date. However, technology can be problematic. Assignments are always posted in my classroom on the whiteboard, and students are reminded that they need to copy those assignments down in their agenda to make sure they have the most up-to-date information. If you have any questions, you can email me. My email is here, or you can call the main office and leave me a message. You can also sign up for text message reminders. Either the adult or the student can sign up for this. I rarely send more than 1 message a week. Usually I send reminders about upcoming assessments or projects. When you want to get enrolled on that, you're going to send a text message to the phone number 81010. And if the student has my class on A days, the body of the text will be at Moses A Day. If they have me on B days, the body of the text will be at Moses B Day. And then if you give quick scribbles so that your students can make sure that they get a free 100 grade on this first homework assignment. And then very quickly, this is just a quick introduction to Office 365. This is almost an online version of Microsoft Office. And so to log in, students are going to go to portal.office.com. Their email address is their ID number at ystu.ycsd.york.va.us, and that's going to have the same password as what they use for school. Once they get in, they will be on a page where they can see all of the tiles and things that they have access to. One of the tiles that it's not on this image, but it's called Teams. And that will be our virtual classroom that we are going to use for several online and blended learning assignments. And so you already know how to access that. And then one great thing that we get through this Office 365 is that you will have several free installs of Microsoft Office on your home computer that you can use and you can download off Office 365. So that's every single student in York County gets free Microsoft Office, which I think is great. Please let me know if you have any questions. I am so excited to have students in my history class this year. Thanks.